Visitors to these shores for centuries. These 8 volcanic mountain islands are among the most visited in the world. From the air, the sea, and over the land, nearly every inch has been covered by explorers. But Hawaii still has hidden secrets cradled in her green valleys and burning red cauldrons. Now, those secrets are revealed. Mother Nature in action, as pure and violent an example that the Earth is a living thing as exists on our planet. From enormous glowing fountains that spatter heaps of 2,000-degree fiery lava into the air, to red-hot, mile-long rushing rivers, to slow-moving fronts, oozing with the Earth's innards, volcanoes and their explosive contents are not foreign to Hawaii. In fact, lava gave birth to these islands nearly 40 million years ago. The Hawaiian Islands sit above bubbling hotspots far below in the Earth's crust. Magma, the molten red guts of the Earth, shoots to the surface through channels directly beneath Hawaii. As lava is forced up and out, new land is created. The Big Island of Hawaii is home to most of the island chain's volcanoes. For decades, geologists here have been trying to uncover what secrets Pele, Hawaii's goddess of fire, has in store. They hope to put an end to the mystery of not only if, but when and how long Hawaii's volcanoes will erupt.
We know what's happened in the past, and we will make our best educated guess as to what's going to happen in the future. And we're not always right, but we try to make as informed a guess as possible.
The Big Island's Mauna Loa volcano, the largest active volcano on Earth, erupts about every 4 years and last erupted in 1984. It's more than a decade overdue. Hualalai volcano is estimated to erupt every 100 years or so and last erupted in 1801. She is a century past due. The largest airport on the Big Island is built in the direct path of her lava flow. And then there is Kilauea, recently Hawaii's busiest volcano. It's been spewing lava in its various forms for the last 18 years. Together, these volcanoes are among the most studied in the world, and with their track record, dangerous eruptions here are truly a matter of when, not if.
There's a number of signs that we know that that volcanic unrest, the period of unrest, is about to ensue.
Getting to know the secrets behind these volcanoes and studying how to predict their behavior is the job of the geologists at the University of Hawaii, as well as specialists with the U.S. Geological Survey team assigned to the Big Island.
I guess all scientists that study disasters, natural disasters, have an equal fascination with the disaster itself. It's truly one of the beautiful spectacles in the world. And so that is certainly a large part of my fascination with the field, is just the simple kind of thing that anyone would have with it.
Volcanologist Ken Hahn takes his fascination to places most never would, to the edge. Here, Ken ventures close to a skylight. That's a place where the top-cooled layer of lava has caved in, revealing a river of lava beneath. With air temperatures over 130 degrees Fahrenheit, geologists are involved in many risky situations in an effort to collect data. But the more they know about the age, speed, type, and temperature of the lava, the better they can predict future flows.
Here on Kilauea, the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory has probably made this the most instrumented single volcano in the world, with seismometers and all sorts of geodetic devices, things that measure the change in shape of the volcano, to monitor Kilauea.
In January 1983, Kilauea started on her most recent rampage and left disaster in her wake. After years of sending lava either creeping or rushing down her slopes, she hit pay dirt. The small subdivisions of Royal Gardens and Kalapana. Now, people and personal property stood between Kilauea and her charge to the sea. The tragedy hit home as structure after structure succumbed to the heat of passing lava.
It took weeks for the lava flows to move through town, and the Civil Defense Director, Harry Kim, described this as like a glacier of lava moving through the town.
Day by day, for months, the people of this area were tormented by the unrelenting lava flow.
But this has sort of the double whammy. Not only does your house burn down, but then what happens is the lava follows it up and piles up all over your land. So it's really the equivalent of having a big construction crew come in and pour 60 feet of pre-stressed concrete onto your property.
Because Kilauea sits in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, visitors can at times get close to an active flow. This involves a special permit. But treading on volcano country is very risky business. Just recently, 2 hikers were killed out in the lava beds, caught off guard by torrential rains and deadly superheated steam that rose off the wet lava. Their deaths are a sad reminder of the dangerous inferno that lurks in the miles of black rock.
Well, those of us who live there don't treat volcano watching as a sport. It's not a sport. It can be very dangerous because it's easy to get disoriented after dark.
The quest to see lava shooting into the sky or spilling into the ocean can be perilous. So Jenda Johnson of Volcano Video has spent years flying above it.
Well, one of the things as a videographer that I would like to show people who can't come or who can't hike to the lava is what it looks like. But you really can't capture all of the essence on film. There's a smell, there's a heat, there's a feeling, there are sounds associated with it. There's so much to it that you can never get across on film.
Despite its destructive powers, millions of visitors flock here, and billions of dollars continue to be spent on housing and resorts on the slopes of these deadly giants. They are part of Hawaii's lure, and although geologists seem certain that Pele will continue to spill fire toward the cities below, a new question must be answered. When will it stop?
We have no idea how to tell when an eruption will end. And someday we just all kind of think that maybe it will just shut off and we'll walk out there and there'll be no more lava.
For those of us who live on volcanic islands, we understand that the lava grows right under our feet. When it erupts, as it does on Hawaii Island, that is not caused by man. That is caused by a power greater than all of us. That is Pele. And she will come and go and flow where she chooses.
When will the next dangerous eruption occur in Hawaii? It seems Pele may be the only one with the answer, and she certainly isn't giving an abundance of clues. Perhaps the inner rhythm of Mother Earth is her secret to keep. Stay tuned for more Hawaii Revealed. Catch some air with the hottest sport to take famous for them. Riding the tube, blasting down the face, or wave hopping. The waters of Hawaii call many. Whether it's for surfing, windsurfing, boogie boarding, or even Hawaii's newest sport, kiteboarding.
Kiteboarding is the most radical new sport to hit anywhere in the world, and it happens to have landed right here on Maui.
This burgeoning sport, which marries board, kite, and the ride of a lifetime, might have remained one of Hawaii's best-kept secrets, if not for the talents of Premier Productions. The aptly named TV production company is known the world over for making extreme water sports videos. From surfers on the Bonsai Pipeline to windsurfers off Maui's windy coast, Ivan Van Buren and his camera team managed to surface wherever the hottest water sports are happening.
The way we get really close to the subject and actually put them in the pilot seat as such is by using special camera angles, trying to basically use a virtual reality feel on what we do, using special mounts, jet skis, helicopters, just anything that your average viewer won't see from sitting on the beach watching. So basically putting them in the action as such.
Ivan's long run as a 4-time champion windsurfer makes him the perfect director when it comes to getting the breakneck action on tape.
Pretty much our whole crew, including myself, we're very involved in the sports we do. We do all the sports ourselves, so we know what to look for, we know what the feelings behind them, and know what can be performed out there. So really it helps us from that point of view.
Ivan and his team's footage is used in TV shows, commercials, and videos throughout the world, giving them a reputation for treading, swimming, riding, or flying as long as it takes to get a killer shot.
Yeah, we've had a couple of very close calls, a lot of contacts, been bumped a lot of the times. It means you're really close up to the action, and that's what this whole filming side of things is about for us, is getting as close as we can to the action, and that's where it is for us.
Premier Productions has pioneered the use of special point-of-view type cameras that strap to just about any part of an athlete's body or board. The result? A shot that puts you smack in the middle of the action. Using winds up to 30 miles an hour, kiteboarders can get up to 40 feet off the water. Boarders are at the whim of the wind's direction and must be careful not to get blown out to sea or slammed back into land.
People are coming to kiteboarding because they actually find that it is an easier sport to learn, and it's so radical to look at it out on the water. It looks like it takes years and years of practice, but in fact, it doesn't take that long to become proficient at it.
On Maui's newly named Kite Beach, Martin Kirk runs the Kiteboarding School of Maui and teaches students how to pull the right strings to manage the mini parachute.
80% of the sport is about flying the kite correctly and safely. So we spend a fair amount of time just flying a kite on land to learn the basic maneuvers, how to control it, how to land it, how to launch it.
From the land, to the sea, to the air. In as little as 3 to 4 hours, students can be flying. The film editor's skillful hands make the sport look effortless. But what's left on the editing room floor probably gives a more accurate portrayal of what's really at stake.
Great day for us on Maui especially is a sunny day, good wind, big waves, top guys just performing and actually connecting all at once and getting the shots we want at the same time. And for us, we come and high five at the end of the day, and
Check out the air, man.
for us, that's where we celebrate.
With images like these hitting television around the world, it won't be long before this new sport isn't a Hawaiian secret anymore. One of the largest resorts in the world sits on 62 acres on the Kohala coast of the Big Island of Hawaii. The Hilton Waikoloa Village is more than a typical hotel. With a choice of antique boat or high-tech tram for transportation, it's a bit of Disneyland in paradise. And like the happiest place on earth, things here seem to happen by magic. Look closely, and you won't find bellmen lugging luggage, waiters wrangling food trays, or staff scurrying about anywhere. There's nothing to mar this perfect picture of paradise. But what a guest sees just scratches the surface of what it takes to run a mega vacation village. So where are the 1,400 employees? In the tunnel. Beneath this behemoth hotel lies a subterranean secret few guests ever see.
It's a tunnel that actually is a way that we get from one end of the property to the other.
Hollowed out of once flowing lava is a long cement tube. This 1.5 mile tunnel makes it possible to quickly service the sprawling village. Unbeknownst to guests above, employees from nearly every part of the resort journey this secluded hotel highway every day. The employees even gave the tunnel a name, Kealanui, which means heart of the house.
You know, it's like that's where we say hi, goodbye, good morning. Are you going to lunch? You know, where are you heading now? So it's just a life of its own underneath, and it's just a fun place to be at.
The tunnel allows personnel, supplies, laundry, housekeeping, and all other hotel amenities to move more directly through the property. Small carts called tuggers do most of the hauling. Although traffic jams do occur during peak hours, and not everyone follows the road signs, this subterranean street is especially critical to the hotel kitchen.
Room service is very challenging here. We have a 1.5 miles of tunnel. It's an elevator that goes from left to right rather than from bottom to top. Electric couch in the tunnel take a little bit longer than an elevator. However, we still get it up there in 15, 20 minutes, half an hour at the most.
Room service is only a small part of the kitchen duty at a mega resort like this. Chef Willie Perngruber has fed thousands of guests in a day.
Sometimes 5,000, sometimes more, sometimes less. It all depends on the occupancy, but it is a challenge.
That means that while guests topside are dining al fresco, a cast of over 100 chefs are working around the clock down under just to keep up. Also buried below ground are the air conditioners, compressors, water pipes, and boilers that keep the mini metropolis humming. Secreted away off the underground tunnel is Aurora Bryan, the head seamstress in the uniform department. To her, a perfect uniform can speak volumes.
We are in a paradise, so we do need to have them look the best. The aloha spirit has to be with them too. So the uniform must be appropriate, and so they can look happy too.
The racks and racks of clothes in various Hawaiian print patterns wardrobe the staff 3 or 4 times over. If Aurora isn't challenged finding the right uniform for each job, it's fitting it to each employee.
And let's see how that fits. Is that better for you, Celeste?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay.
To stand out in the crowd of great destinations in a paradise like Hawaii takes more than a great uniform. And the Hilton Waikoloa Village has it, the Aloha spirit.
They treat everyone as if they were coming to their own home. So I think it's a pretty nice concept, and I think that's why a lot of our guests feel that aloha spirit, but even more here.
Although not all the staff is out of sight at the Hilton Waikoloa Village, there is a secret to their success, and it lies 30 feet down under in a tunnel where the staff keeps the aloha spirit alive every day. Next up, tsunami surprise attacks devastate the islands. Could Hawaii be caught off guard again? And taboo tattoos finally see the light of day when Hawaii Revealed continues. As these Hawaiian islands hold, the ever-pounding sea hides an important clue. Water. It's the Earth's life force. And in these, the most remote islands on Earth, it is almost sacred. In Hawaii, water is friend and foe, the secret giver and taker of life. Hilo, an unassuming port town on the east coast of the big island of Hawaii. A peaceful city waking quietly this morning as it did in April 1946. But soon after sunrise, on a spring day half a century ago, Mother Nature reared her head.
She came in and then she was shouting at the top of her lungs, tidal wave, tidal wave.
And we looked out, and this house across the street had been completely lifted up by the waves and was just twisting. The end of the world was here.
Well, this one just kept coming and coming and getting bigger and bigger.
It was April Fool's Day, 1946, 7 o'clock in the morning, and Mother Nature was playing a cruel joke. Without warning, she sent huge walls of water up to 55 feet high, crashing into Hawaii's east coast. The hospitable Hilo Bay was turned into a hellhole, and its people sent to hell and back. The frightening visions of family and friends being swiftly swept away by the sea, debris flying, and the muted screams of the drowning live with survivors to this day.
I remember turning back and the water was just fighting. It broke the windows. The whole cottage collapsed.
That sound was like all the bulldozers in the world smashing all the buildings. Crunching, 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 gurgling everything. In fact, it sounded like the earth was really coming apart.
Tsunamis are unique in that they're a natural disaster which gives almost no advance warning. By the time you see something's wrong with the ocean, it's really too late.
9 waves in all would pound their way inland 1.5 miles, dragging deadly debris with them. Boulders, boats, cars, homes, rail cars, and people were all caught up in the rushing water.
I was just extremely frightened. I didn't know what was going to happen. And then, of course, my father's reaction of being saying, we've got to get out. Let's run. This is a tidal wave.
The quick race to higher ground would save some, but not all. 159 people died that day, most in Hilo and the nearby town of Lapahoehoe. The devastation was instant. The town soon looked like a jumbled set of tinker toys. Boulders from the ocean floor were thrown like baseballs into storefront windows. Debris crowded the streets. The Hilo Pier, bridges and railroad tracks were destroyed. The water had receded, and in its wake, a forever changed people and place remained.
Most people don't realize that tsunamis are by far the deadliest natural disaster we have here in Hawaii. More people have been killed by tsunamis than by earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, floods, and hurricanes all put together.
Underwater earthquakes and large movement on the sea floor, thousands of miles away in Alaska, South America, or Japan, can cause devastating tsunamis in Hawaii.
Following the tsunami of 1946 and the tremendous loss of life here in the Hawaiian Islands, the federal government started a warning system. Its headquarters is on Oahu at Ewa Beach, and it's called the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. And their job is to detect earthquakes, which could potentially have generated tsunamis.
When an 8.5 earthquake rocked Concepcion, Chile in May of 1960, the Tsunami Warning Center went into action, correctly predicting a tsunami to arrive in Hawaii at approximately 12 o'clock midnight. When no big waves had hit, the Hilo population was falsely lulled to sleep, and many ignored the warning sirens.
And just about that time, the wave hit. And everything went topsy-turvy. We were totally engulfed in water. And of course, everything was pitch black.
Once again, Hilo was hit, and hit hard. In 1994, the Pacific Tsunami Museum was established in downtown Hilo. With hundreds of photographs and survivor interviews on exhibit, it is both a tribute to those who lost their lives and a warning to those who live in and visit this island paradise. One of the pictures in the museum is of a broken clock dashed in the tsunami's wake and frozen in history. 1:05 a.m., May 23rd, 1960. That same clock, restored today in a nearby city park, is a reminder that in the quick sweep of a second hand, a home, a livelihood, and a life can be swept away. Surging water caused a complete power outage, so it wasn't until daylight that the damage could be assessed. For 20-year-old Harry Kim, it was a terrible scene. The advice he received when looking for missing friends was gut-wrenching.
I never forget this guy coming up to us and saying, don't bother to look anyplace else except where you see and hear flies, because the flies will tell you where the bodies are.
The tragedy was that the warning system had worked, but public education hadn't. A new signaling system wasn't understood, and the fascination with seeing the wall of water still attracted some to the seaside.
I think I can honestly say Hawaii Island has the best tsunami warning system in the world, bar none. And it was done to make sure that 46 and 60 don't ever happen again.
Harry just hopes that locals and visitors alike heed future warnings and aren't tempted toward the sea.
I've said it 100 times and I'll say it 1,000 times. When we get the next tsunami, if people don't have a greater respect for nature and its ways, we will have the greatest search and rescue mission this state has ever seen.
Next, the island of Maui is growing a bubbling green algae that is said to prolong life and will track down Hawaii's favorite food. And it's not what you think. Stay tuned for more Hawaii Revealed. It's a great place for food, all kinds of food. Some fresh and exotic and some, well, not. Like Spam.
I like it. Just like the nastiest thing. Whoa.
Yep, that little can filled with pork shoulder, ham, and spices is adored by all of Hawaii. They eat more Spam here than anywhere else in America, quite possibly the world. Spam came to these tropical islands during World War II to feed hungry soldiers and locals when their main food sources were severely rationed. At first, islanders were obliged to eat Spam, but soon the processed pork that held them captive began to captivate. From the fast food factory to the chic bamboo bistro kitchen, it's simmering up everywhere.
We got lots of things with Spam. We have the mini breakfast that has Spam. We have the regular breakfast, Spam and eggs. We got fried rice with Spam. We got Spam by itself. You can have stuffed eggplant tempura that has Spam right in the middle. We got Spam mousse de bees. We got lots of things with Spam.
Today, the demand is so big that a shortage would wreak havoc on the local psyche. So just as they've set up safeguards against tsunamis and exploding volcanoes, there's an emergency backup warehouse for Spam. It's so covert that we can't even reveal its location. Lest you think less of this little product, famous Pacific Rim chef Peter Merriman stands up for it.
I want to talk about Spam because I love Spam. I think it's an overlooked food. It's a part of Hawaii and it's part of what we eat, and I have fun with it all the time.
So before you turn your nose up at the tiny 12-ounce tin with a shelf life like a rock, remember this: Hawaii residents outlive the rest of us by more than 3 years. Maybe their secret is in the can.
Spam is the best, is like, okay, yeah, come Hawaii, eat Spam.
Maui, the Valley Isle, a treasure in the Hawaiian archipelago, the second largest island in the chain, and a vacationer's dream. To the unsuspecting, this is simply another day in paradise. Few are aware that the hills above this much-visited shoreline are alive. Like a scene out of a science fiction film, fields of hundreds of lucite domes cling to the landscape. These otherworldly contraptions are percolating with microscopic algae, a miracle medicinal ooze.
Microalgae, they're little plants. They need sunshine and they need good warm temperatures to grow in, and of course Hawaii offers that.
Concealed on the low-sloping hills above the town of Kihei is Microgaia, a high-tech biofarm, and the only place in the world growing microalgae in this unique way. In its early stages, the algae is bright green and resembles the layer of scum on a pond. As it matures, the green turns to shades of red and even brown. This indicates high levels of astaxanthin, the algae's secret nutrient that boasts amazing health benefits.
Yeah, you could take it as a pill. Pills of astaxanthin are now sold because astaxanthin has a far greater antioxidant capacity than vitamin C.
It will make you healthy, and it will make your immune system strong. It means you can fight against diseases.
It may be hard to believe that a single-cell microbe growing in a dome-shaped test tube could actually have an impact on human healing, but it does. In his lab at University of Hawaii, Dr. Alex Malahoff is one of the world's leading authorities on microalgae.
Well, with companies like Microgaia, what they're doing is they're growing microalgae, and these are really microscopic plants. The value in them is that they reproduce very quickly, and they have extremely valuable products in them.
By valuable, Dr. Malahoff means these precious algae have some truly amazing benefits when consumed by humans.
It is an antioxidant, so it prevents cancer, it prevents stroke, and also prevents the degeneration of the eyes and also the central nervous system.
Lying unassumedly at the bottom of the food chain, tiny one-celled microalgae first appeared mysteriously in the oceans as one of the planet's earliest life forms. They were the first plants to take energy from the sun, but harnessing its superpowers wasn't easy until a few years ago when Japanese scientist Seishito Hidebayashi created the dome-shaped bioreactor. The domes and the microalgae seemed to be a perfect fit. With a price tag of nearly $1,000 a pound, it's obvious that harvesting high volumes of algae at a high efficiency rate keeps Microgaia in the black, or should we say, in the green. This objective has Hazel Guevara and the team at the farm on a mission.
Yes, I love my work because I know that it will help people. We have a goal, and we know that we're on the right direction.
As the sun sets over Maui's much-visited shorelines, the domes at Microgaia keep on churning, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Meanwhile, thousands of vacationers languish in the beauty and serenity of this Hawaiian paradise, completely unaware that what's bubbling up on the distant hillside just might keep them healthy enough to return again and again. The rolling hills above the shores of Hawaii often go unexplored, but hidden in these panoramic landscapes is a secret that just might shatter your image of the American West. This is the home of America's first cowboys. Yep, cowboys. Real live, hard-riding, cattle-roping cowhands, just like the ones that rode the West 50 years later on the mainland. Cowboys have been at home on the ranges of Hawaii since the early 1800s. Decades before the word cowboy was coined, Hawaii already had its own Roy Rogers and Wild Bills. In fact, there were hundreds of Hawaiian cowboys called Paniolos working ranches here in the islands, long before America's famous breed of horsemen were even born.
Little did I know after researching, came to find out that the cowboys of Hawaii, the Paniolo, are the first cowboys in the United States.
It all started when the first few head of cattle, some sheep, and a horse arrived on these virgin shores in the late 1700s as gifts from a visiting sea captain to the island king. Within 20 years, the cattle had multiplied so much the king desperately needed help controlling the livestock. So he turned to the vaqueros, the cowboys of Mexico. These foreign ranchers rode to the rescue. The Hawaiians jumped on the bandwagon, and together they managed to tame the wild beasts. Driving the herds down from the hills often ended with a cattle hoist. Ships would anchor in the Hawaiian harbors and wait for the expert Paniolo to bring the cattle aboard. Thousands of herds were transported this way, as some island harbors were too shallow for the large ships. The fact that this was all happening decades before John Wayne sat on his first horse did not go unnoticed by Edgy Lee, a fifth-generation island-born artist and filmmaker.
Action.
After years in Hollywood, she returned home to find her true calling, telling the forgotten tales of her island's people. Her film, Paniolo, Cowboys of the Far West, is a tribute to these unsung heroes.
What struck me was that the people felt like they'd been forgotten, and they had. So it became more than just making a film. It became kind of like it's time they got some attention, and people recognize the contribution they've made to the greater part of American history.
Through research, Edgy uncovered Hawaii's own cowboy greats. From the legend of Ione Ha'a, the Robin Hood of Mauna Kea, who stole cattle from the rich ranchers and gave it to the poor islanders, to Ekua Purdy, the best cowboy in the far west. He showed up at a rodeo in Wyoming and came home with the title, Best Cowboy in the Land, and from across the sea. It took Edgy 3 years to make the film about the lost Hawaiian cowboys and America's first Wild West.
So I fell in love with all the cowboys, and I fell in love with the lifestyle and the history that hadn't been told.
Through her art, she preserved an important piece of the native culture, and luckily, it isn't dead yet. 200 years later, large working ranches still dot the landscape of these islands, and you don't have to look far to find a modern cowboy riding the range. Vacation here, and you'll feel the spirit of America's first cowboys. Hawaii will always be the distant islands where the Wild West was really born.
I'd hope that when people see the films that we're making here in Hawaii, that they want to come here, and they want to come here because they're curious for another Hawaii, perhaps a Hawaii that they didn't realize existed.
When we come back, we'll uncover hidden rituals of ancient Hawaii, and we'll witness sacred secrets from her. For centuries, the native island people of Hawaii have kept secrets, hidden keys to their royal past. Ancient Hawaiian arts were passed down from warrior father to son. Shrouded in shadows, these century-old traditions were for Hawaiian eyes only, until now. You're witnessing the revival of Nakoa and the practice of Lua, a lost Hawaiian tradition never before captured on film.
We are known as Nakua Kauike Meheo Nakupuna, which means the warriors that walk the footsteps of our ancestors.
The lua as a practice in the society of Hawaii went underground when Christianity came. So now that it is brought more into the public, it has become another connection back to the traditional Hawaii and the power and the glory that extended from traditional time into today.
Ke'eaumoku is a kumu, or teacher, of Hawaii's ancestral martial art, lua. This is the first time outsiders have been invited to film this sacred ritual. For thousands of years, this tradition was a guarded secret, even among Hawaiians.
Throughout the world, the need for hand-to-hand combat always existed in warrior societies. Hawaii was no different.
For centuries, they were ordained the personal protectors of Hawaii's ruling chiefs. Today, lua practitioners are speaking out for a new Hawaii, one that celebrates the old ways, not conceals them.
As modern-day Hawaiians, we have to walk on two roads. One, of course, being the Western world, and the other, that of our roots of being Hawaiian. And no matter what we do in everyday life, when the time calls, we shed that world and go back to our ancient style.
At the shoreline of the very modern Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Kapalua, Maui, is a sacred ground where Clifford Naiole and other chosen ones turn back the clock.
Here lay the ancient burials of thousands of our ancestors, carbon dated 610 AD to late 1800s. To the left of the burial site are wonderful cliffs. Nakoa, or those that choose to practice the warrior protocol of Hawaii, have chosen this spot to come and dance their dance of haka. Their dancing may seem warrior-like, may seem very strong, very bombastic, but it's exercise. So no matter how ferocious or how strong this energy may be, the outcome, it is humility and it is respect.
As their ancient chants rise above the graves of their ancestors, inside each, a transformation takes place. The wild is tamed by the calm, yet the warrior spirit secretly remains.
We need to be warriors of today because we are dying. The main thing is important. The culture survives. 500 years from now, we may not have the blood, but at least we'll have the culture to carry on the ways.
Tattoo. The word itself conjures up images of wild, exotic, bizarre, and even beautiful body art. The kind your mom begged you not to get. Made famous by salty sailors, the tattoo quickly became the bad man's badge of honor. And soon enough, this process that turns people into pincushions caught on everywhere. Today, everyone from motorcycle mamas to the girl next door are turning up at tattoo parlors for a little needlepoint. Now, before you head off for your indelible entry into the hip crowd, hear this. There's a centuries-old secret behind tattooing that goes more than skin deep, and it's in Hawaii. Thousands of years ago, before there were tattoo parlors and electric needles, there were the Polynesians, island warriors who came to inhabit Hawaii from distant lands, their bodies adorned with permanent markings, symbols of their manhood. These adventurers brought the sacred tattoo ritual to these untamed islands.
The true difference is that when you go to a tattoo parlor, they do not have the pule, they do not have the prayers that truly makes it filled with that spiritual power, filled with mana. And so it's just a nice design. It is not a Hawaiian tattoo.
In an effort to revive the Hawaiian culture lost to the modern world, Native Hawaiian people are embracing the hidden mysteries and symbols of their heritage. Today, bearing an ancestral tattoo applied in the traditional way is becoming popular once again.
Ancient Hawaiian tattooing was done with the use of what is called a moli, or a comb that was traditionally made from albatross bones. And the moli was sharpened and put on a handle and was dipped into ink and placed on the skin
and a hahau, or a hitting stick, was used to tap the ink into the skin.
The word tattoo comes from the Tahitian word tatau, to tap. It may sound harmless, but actually each hit sends the razor-sharp blade slicing into the skin. This manual process is far more excruciating than the modern version done with a high-speed needle. Tapping again and again for hours causes severe pain and requires almost a trance-like state to endure. Keone Nunes is a master tattooist. As a young man, his elders, or kapuna, brought him into the inner circle of tattoo knowledge.
They explained to me designs. They explained to me the significance and how it was attached to genealogies. Some kupuna drew pictures, others would describe the designs to me.
These elders passed down the intricate geometric patterns, repeating squares, triangles, and diamonds. Birds, reptiles, and animals usually represented one's ancestral guardian spirits called Aumakua. Through his tattooing, Keone has given Hawaiians passage back to sacred ground. Without him, the path to this ancient art of Hawaii could have vanished forever.
At the end of my life, when all of is said and done, I would hope that they would look upon me as one of the players that made people recognize the value, importance, the spirituality, and the mana of tattooing in Hawaii.
From cliffs and caves to deep valleys and wide open ocean, the Hawaiian Islands have always been shrouded in mystery. Here, while new land is born every day, ancient traditions are fighting to stay alive. But no matter how much we learn about these exotic and isolated islands, the people and their traditions, there will always be more to discover, more tales to tell, and secrets to reveal.